Is there a thread? I know I've asked you in our radio interviews, I've asked you this question, but is there a thread? Are there common mistakes that people at those levels make that you see universally made by all?
Well, in my book, What Got You Here Won't Get You There, that's my most popular book. It sold about 1.5 million copies. In that book, I talk about classic problems of successful leaders. Maybe I'll mention a couple of three now. The first one is called winning too much. Now, I was interviewed in the Harvard Business Review and asked a question, what is the #1 problem of all those successful people you've coached over the years? And my answer, winning too much. What's that mean? If it's important, win. Meaningful, win. Critical, win. Trivial, win. And not worth it, win anyway. Winners love winning. I have a case study I use with my clients and almost all of them fail. I say, you want to go to dinner at restaurant X. Your wife, husband, friend, or partner wants to go to Y. You have an argument, you go to Y, and it wasn't your choice. And food tastes awful, and the service is terrible. And then option A, you could critique the food and point out our friend or partner was wrong, and this mistake could have been avoided if you listened to me. Or option B, just shut up, eat the stupid food, try to enjoy it, and have a nice evening. Then I say, what would you do? What should you do? Almost all my clients, well, what I do? Critique the food. What should I do? Just shut up. And you know, it's very interesting because, another one is, you have a hard day at work, a hard day. Well, such a hard day. You go home, your wife, husband, or friend's there, and the other person goes, I had such a hard day today. I had such a tough day. And then we say, you had a hard day. You had a
Let me tell you about mine.
Mine day. Wow.
So the car didn't start.
Oh, yeah. We have to prove we're more miserable than the people we live with. And I gave that example in my class at Dartmouth, and a young man raised his hand. He said, I did that last week. So I asked him what happened. He said, my wife looked at me and said, honey, you just think you've had a hard day. It's not over.
That's right. The toilet's clogged.
It's not over. It's not over. Now, the second classic problem I talk about is called adding too much value. What's that mean? Imagine you're the boss. I'm young, smart, enthusiastic. I work for you. I come to you with an idea. And you think it's a great idea.
Right.
Rather than just saying great idea, our natural tendency is to say, that is a nice idea. Why don't you add this to it? The problem is the quality of the idea may go up 5%. My commitment to execute this idea may go down 50%. It's no longer my idea. Now it's your idea.
Right.
Incredibly difficult for smart, successful people not to constantly add value. One of my good coaching clients retired several years ago. His name J.P. Garnier, CEO of a very large drug company, GlaxoSmithKline. I said, what'd you learn about leadership as the CEO of this huge company? He said, I learned a hard lesson. My suggestions become orders. He said, if they're smart, they're orders. If they're stupid, they're orders. If I want them to be orders, they're orders. And if I do not want them to be orders, orders anyway. For 9 years, I trained the admirals in our fine United States Navy. What's the first thing I train those new admirals? You get that little star? Your suggestions become orders. Admirals do not make suggestions.
Right.
When that admiral makes a suggestion, what is the response?
Direct command. Right.
Sir, yes, sir.
Right.
So I asked my friend JP, what did you learn from me when I was your coach that helped you the most? He said, you taught me one lesson, helped me be a better leader and have a happier life. I said, fine, what was it? He said, before I speak, breathe and ask myself one question, is it worth it? Is it worth it? And he said, as a CEO of this huge company, 50% of the time, I had just the discipline to stop and breathe and ask myself, is it worth it? What did I decide? Am I right? Maybe. Is it worth it? No.
It's an amazing way to look at it. What do you think are, what makes a good leader? What are the general characteristics of a good leader? Are there a few, like the top 5 type thing?
Or does it answer that question
vary on the person?
2 different perspectives. First, the perspective of the people I coach.
Right.
What are the qualities of the people that get better?
Right.
Really, 3 things stand out. One is they have to have courage. They have the courage to get feedback, the courage to look in the mirror, which is not easy. They have to have courage. 2 is they have to have humility. Because you see, if you're going to get better, that means you're probably not thinking you're perfect to start with. So really, it's very hard to help perfect people get better.
Right.
They have to have the humility to admit they can improve. And then the third thing, you have to have the discipline to follow up and do the hard work to get better. Courage, humility, and discipline. So that's part of that answer. Another way to answer the question is, what's different tomorrow than yesterday? So I did a book called Global Leadership, The Next Generation. We interviewed 150 young high potential leaders and said, what are the qualities of the global leader of the future? 5 things came out. One is global thinking. In the past, leadership was very much domestic. If you look at the history of the world, they didn't have cars.
Right.
Leadership was very local.
Right.
Then it became a little more regional, maybe a town. Then it became a district, a region, a state, a country. And now leadership is global.
It's global, yeah.
Number two, you need to have cross-cultural appreciation. Because in the past, diversity just meant dealing with people in your country. Now it's people around the world. Number three is something called technological savvy. You don't have to be a technologist, but you have to understand how technology impacts your business today. Even my business, your business, we have to understand how technology is a big deal.
Right.
Talked about social media. It's a big deal.
Right.
Then number four is building alliances and partnerships. In the past, that wasn't so important. The old IBM, for example, had almost no alliances and partnerships. Today, they're all alliances and partnerships. So the world has changed in that sense. So alliances more important, partnerships more important. And then finally, and I was a great teacher of mine, Peter Drucker, said the leader of the past knew how to tell, the leader of the future knows how to ask. Most people today manage people called knowledge workers. Now, what is the definition of a knowledge worker? They know more about what they're doing than their boss does. So if you work for me and you're a knowledge worker, I cannot tell you what to do and how to do it. Why? You know more than I do.
Right.
I have to ask, I have to listen, I have to learn. And the higher up you go, for example, like the people I coach, they manage almost all knowledge workers.
Right.
By the way, if I'm the CEO and the head of marketing, I know more about marketing than they do. And I know more about finance than a finance person and HR than the HR person. Mm-hmm. I don't have a leadership problem.
Right.
I have a selection problem.
Right.
I got the wrong people in the job.
Right.
At that level, you hope everyone is a knowledge worker because they should know more about what they're doing than you do. You're the CEO, but they're the expert at their jobs. So you can't just boss them around.
And that's changing a lot, too, just in corporate culture or in society, isn't it? Where some bosses are becoming not necessarily even bosses. They're more hands-on. They're taking more input from the employees as opposed to being up in the ivory tower. They're rolling up the sleeves, getting more immersed in the company and the staff. You see that happening a lot?
Well, let me give you the great case study of my friend Alan, who totally turned Ford around. He goes to Ford, the stock is at $1.01. He left, it's $18.40. Again, number 3 ranked leader in the world, CEO of the year in the United States, fantastic leader. People said, well, how can you lead Ford? You never been in a car company. Well, he could lead anything. We'll see, he might even be leading as the Secretary of State of the United States. I don't know what's going to happen, but
we'll see what happens.
He could lead about anything. Well, he didn't feel a need to be the boss all the time. He helped people find the answers without having to provide them. Let me give you a funny story. So he goes to Ford. Company's losing $17 billion with a B dollars, $17 billion. So he says to the top 16 leaders, set those top priorities. Red, yellow, green. 5 priorities each, red, yellow, green. Green is I'm on plan. Yellow, I'm not on plan, got a strategy to get there. And red, not on plan, no strategy. First meeting, 16 leaders, 5 priorities each, red, yellow, green. Everything's green. Now they're losing $17 billion with the B dollars. Everything's green. Everyone's on plan. Mm-hmm. So Alan goes, well, let's see. We're losing $17 billion and we're all on plan. I guess the plan must be to lose $17 billion because we are. Finally, Mark Fields, who's now the CEO of Ford, said, red. I'm not on plan, don't know how to get there. My friend Alan stands up and applauds. He says, thank you for the courage to say red. Thank you. Thank you for having the honesty, transparency, and courage to say red. Now he said, Mark, you're not on plan, you do not know how to get there, you're lost. Then he said, I want to assure you of one thing. I know less than you do. I don't have the answer. He said, we manage hundreds of thousands of people. There are a lot of smart people here. We can hire people. Why don't we just form a team and solve the problem?
Right.
Alan said within 10 minutes, problem solved.
And it was solved. Right.
Why? Once they got over that egotistical, I have to show how smart I am, I have to prove myself all the time, and realize we all need help. It's okay.
And asking for it is important.
Admitting, saying red. We're all red for something.
Right, exactly. Being a good leader, too, you have to get the ego in check, but you also have to be a really good listener, don't you? You have to listen to people's concerns, listen to what's going on, and not just, I'm going to go in there and say what I want to say, but I need to listen because sometimes there can be some incredible ideas and possibilities in front of you, but if you don't listen to them, they go by the wayside. You find that the case a lot?
And also, you have to read between the lines, because the higher up you go, if you're not careful, well, like I said, my suggestions are orders. At that second, if Alan Mulally would have said, "Have you thought of?" You know what would probably happen? Yes, sir.
Right.
Stupid idea with no commitment.
Right.
The worst of all worlds. And you really need to be able to read between the lines, because every time you get promoted, they start laughing at your jokes. Ha, 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 ha. Those comments, oh,
Right.
you even look like you've lost a pound or two. And every time you get promoted,
Right,
and
right.
so you really, it's harder and harder to hear the truth.
It really is. The other thing I like about your process and your style, and I want to talk a little bit more about your presentation style, the speaking engagements, but also the method of coaching, is you really dig deep to try to bring out, or for people to realize, the good within. Sometimes maybe they're very negative about themselves. I can't do that. We can't do this. But to really bring out the good in them, and the good in them reinforces everything that they're about, right?
Well, you know, it's interesting. We often stereotype ourselves in really unfortunate ways, and this goes back to maybe we're children. So coach someone say, I can't listen, I've never been able to listen, I can't. Look in the guy's ear, why can't you listen? Because I'm stuck in there? Well, you know, but as long as you say I can't listen,
Right.
you probably can't listen.
You're not gonna-
I'm no good at recognition. Well, why not? Are you genetically mean? Why are you no good at recognition? Well, you could be, you just chose not to be. So I really encourage people to look at their identities. Our identity is often a function of programs that we've been given since we were children. Some may make some sense, and a lot of them make no sense, and we just live these out for decades sometimes, and challenge that and say, can I be something different? And the answer is, unless you have a genetic defect, you can be better. You can change. If nobody could change, I'd never get paid.